This is the story of a beekeeper who loves her bees and loses her bees and learns about pesticides. She lives in a mosquito control district. What is a mosquito control district? A mosquito control district is a special taxpayer-funded district like ambulance or fire, but its purpose is to control the nuisance of mosquitoes. There are 734 U.S. municipalities which have created this sort of special district. There are over 35,000 cities and towns in the United States, meaning about 2% of communities have voted to tax themselves to pay for mosquito control. 98% of cities rely on individual citizens wearing long sleeves or putting on bug spray. One argument for having a mosquito control district is that spraying protects people from diseases like West Nile virus. However, a 2003 outbreak in Loveland and Fort Collins, Colorado, one with a mosquito control district and one without, showed that the community that sprayed actually had more infected than the community that didn't spray. In fact, rather than having a health benefit, the chemicals used for mosquito control are toxic to humans, with over 100 studies demonstrating links to ADHD, autism, reproductive problems, and thyroid and other endocrine system conditions. These chemicals are also general insecticides, meaning they kill their target mosquitoes, but also kill beneficial pollinator insects like honeybees. In the summer of 2011, this beekeeper and several other community members requested waivers to not have their homes sprayed with the insecticide. The requests were denied. The reason given was that their neighbors might want their homes sprayed, so not spraying homes on their block jeopardized the effectiveness of the spraying program. The whole town gets sprayed whether we like it or not. There are loud voices demanding the spraying for nuisance control and also for alleged medical reasons, such as children who are, quote, deathly allergic to mosquitoes. Fear is the bottom line. It is like a bell curve. Most people fall somewhere in the middle with their opinion about mosquito control. Pesticides are probably not good for health, but since the EPA certified the chemical, it must not be that bad, right? On the extreme ends of the bell curve are those who ardently support spraying and those who ardently wish not to be sprayed. Many of the voices on the ardent support end are mothers and grandmothers. They are mama bears when it comes to their children. Do not get in their way. Somehow these women see pesticide spray as a benefit to health. If we win over the grandmas, we win over the world. In the European Union, the EU version of the EPA requires chemical companies to demonstrate the safety of their product before granting the patent. This is called the precautionary principle. The burden of research must be performed before the drug or chemical is allowed to be used on the public, and the expense of the testing is paid by the chemical company. The testing is done by an independent lab. The U.S. EPA uses the risk assessment principle to determine whether or not to grant a patent to a chemical. This method allows the chemical company to test its own product and report the results to the EPA. The process can be expedited for a fee, and if there are health problems that aren't identified by that chemical company's testing of their own product, which may turn up years or even decades after the product has been widely used, it is then the burden of the victims of the chemical to prove that the chemical is unsafe in order for the EPA to pull the chemical's patent.
Welcome everyone to Hasta las Ocho, your source for local news in the Upper Rio Grande region and also northern New Mexico, bringing you insight and useful information from your neighborhoods. This is KRZA News, Hasta las Ocho. Today we're joined by Karen Lemke, Dale Salazar, Leroy Chacon, William Brinton, and Larry Sviam, who are all the candidates running for the Mosquito Control District here in the San Luis Valley.
I think I'll take a minute or two to introduce myself and talk about my background as well. So I work at Adams State College. I have worked with different grants, federal, state, private grants. I'm used to working with diverse groups of people, trying to solve complex problems. And so I wanted to come here today to talk about some of the things that I see. And I see our community really needs to do some healing. There's a lot of fear and distrust on all sides. There's accusations, lies, rumors, bullying, disrespect. People want to be listened to, and they don't want to be run over roughshod. And there are so many fears. Some people fear pesticides are unsafe and making them sick, and others fear what Alamos would be like without mosquito spraying. People also don't want their taxes spent on things they disagree with, whether it's people who are pro-life, who don't want to fund birth control, or anti-chemical company people who don't want to see hundreds of thousands of dollars sent out of the valley to wealthy chemical companies.
Why is it so difficult to opt out?
I think that's a key question here, and Larry referenced how the district currently is responsive to people who want more spraying, but it's not responsive to people who want less spraying. And in fact, both Bill and I have wanted to opt out, and we were answered basically that it's impossible to opt out. So I think that's an extremely important question. Part of the education campaign is to listen and respond to these diverse perspectives. It's more than 10 people who want to opt out, as the newspaper article said last week, and 2 of them didn't even get a waiver last year, so it's certainly more than 8 people. I think it's probably hundreds of people, and that just makes, again, a complex issue that we need to figure out a way to serve the people who want to be sprayed and to serve the people who don't want to be sprayed.